Hi there, I'm Shane Cradock and we're continuing on here with the MARC performance model. We've already gone through the first two words, mind and awareness, and we're now on the third word, which begins with the letter R. Now again, I'm not going to tell you what the word is just yet, but I just want you to consider this. We're obviously living through a rate of change going on here at the moment, which is driven by technology, which is unprecedented. And that rate of change is causing a huge amount of uncertainty for pretty much everybody. Now it's fantastic, the technology, but what it's bringing is this challenge of connectivity and also information. So people's minds are literally being consumed with information on a daily basis. And not all of it's actually good. And it certainly has an effect, a big effect, if not corrected, on your energy. So the word here that's actually, this is very, very important for all leaders going forward to consider, is to have a daily strategy on this word. And the word is recharge. Now, it's a straightforward word, it's a straightforward topic. But actually what you'll find is that most people will have a strategy for recharging their phone before they actually recharge themselves. And I think that's very, very true. So what I'm saying to you right now is that, well, what actually are the factors that affect your rechargeability? Because we're all kind of different. There are some common areas, mind you, but we're all different in terms of what actually recharges the levels back up. And think about your mobile phone for a second. For example, the iPhone. I have one of the iPhone. So the actual charge in the phone is signified by a green charge. And when the charge gets low, it gets down to a red color. That's very, very low. So every day, every night, I have to charge my phone. If I don't charge my phone, I can't use it the next day, particularly with the iPhone. It's probably the only downside of the iPhone, mind you, as you probably know yourself if you have one. So what you find is you've got a charge level as a person. So where's your charge at right now? And do you have a recharge strategy for every day? Because in my experience before I meet people, what you'll find is that they'll know about this intellectually, but they don't actually do anything about it. So literally they get to the end of their day and their battery charge has gone down to orange, maybe even red, and they've no way of getting it back up to the high level of green. And think about it, if you can sustain a high charge of green for your personal life, for you personally, wouldn't that have a huge effect on your business? Wouldn't it have a huge effect on your state of mind, even in sports? Or even think about you interacting with people. You've got more energy, you can communicate in a better way. Charge is everything. So what's your strategy? And just as a simple, if you think this isn't something that's real, a very real story is that there's a CEO of Lloyd's Bank who took over in March 2000, I think it was 2011. And in November 2011, he actually announced to the markets that he actually was taking stress leave due to fatigue and overwork. So this guy was on a package in excess of 8 million sterling. And the day he announced that he was going on stress leave, the market value of Lloyd's dropped by 1 billion. Now, I think you'll agree that having a recharge strategy in place for that individual or somebody like that is highly important. And I'm sure the shareholders and the board would have actually paid a good chunk of money to have him back at a good level. Now, on a plus side for this guy, his name is Antonio Horta Osario. Don't be picky on my Spanish accent there, but that's his name. And he came back to business, I think, in March 2012. And it seems that he's actually back at a very, very high level of charge, which is great for him, great for the shareholders, great for the company. But here's the thing. Most businesses, in my experience, most business owners, most CEOs don't have a recharge strategy. But what would happen if you actually had to take stress leave? What would happen if you got overtired due to fatigue? And the problem right now is that most people are experiencing a level of fatigue and they assume that it's normal. And that's going to affect, obviously, your decision making, your productivity, but it's not normal. There's actually ways around it. And one simple tip I'll give you on this, and again, it's not rocket science, once you know it and you do it, is to limit and watch the amount of sugar that you take on a daily basis. That has a huge effect on your hormones inside, in particular insulin, and actually has a huge effect then on your energy going forward. A simple tip, once you know it, once you do it, particularly in the afternoon, watch your sugar level intake. But there's a huge amount of other areas you can actually focus on to improve your recharge also. But here's the thing, you probably know some of them yourself. So I'm going to ask you a question right now, and I'd like you to write this answer down. What are the top 3 things that you could do right now that actually would improve your recharge level on a daily basis? 3 things, what could you do? Write them down and then do them. Okay, so now we move into the final word, and this word pretty much ties the entire performance model in together. So you could actually be very strong mentally, have high self-awareness, and have a good recharge ability, so that you're actually at a high level and you're performing, you're pretty good shape for everything. But if you don't have this last word, you're not going to hit the high levels of results that you could hit for your talent. And it's a word that most people in my experience when I meet them, they actually just don't have it. And I do think it's highly linked to technology, because technology is allowing us to be highly consumed with information. And when you're overly consumed with information, you don't have this. And this is the key word going forward in everything, in business, in sport, and in life. It's clarity. Now, clarity can mean something to me and something completely different to you. Here's what it means to me. What clarity means to me is threefold. One is the ability to actually clear your mind on demand, to actually have a clear mind. So if I said to you right now, clear your mind, remove all the stress, the worry, concern, clear your mind and just focus. Can you do that? How clear is your mind on a day-to-day basis? Because that's a huge skill and it's very important going forward, particularly when there's so much change going on. The second part of clarity is clarity on who you are as an individual. So what are your values? What do you stand for? What's your purpose? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Are you even aware of them? But also, as well as that, if you're in a business context, clarity of who you are as a business, because that's equally important in terms of generating a culture that's going to live long beyond you. And that's what all the research shows. People who actually get clear on who they are as a company will succeed better than those who don't. And the last point of the clarity, which is a really, really important one, and most people don't have this, it's clarity of your outcomes. So right now, how clear are you on your top outcomes for your business? How clear are you on your top outcomes for your personal life over the next month, over the next quarter, over the next year, over the next 3 years? What are your desired outcomes? It's not to say they can't change, because things come and make us change things all the time, but having clarity on your outcomes, I found, is at least 50% of the way to actually achieving them. Because let's face it, if you don't know where you're going, well, you're not going to get there, that's logical. But once you decide exactly what your outcome is, and you can see it almost as a picture, and that's one of the things that comes up in the mind, is that people who think very successfully, work at a high level of performance, all think a certain way. And one of the things that they all have in common is clarity of outcome on what they want to happen. And that is such an important one. So what I'm going to ask you right now is, for yourself, how clear are you out of 10 for who you are? How clear are you out of 10 in terms of being able to clear your mind? And also, how clear are you out of 10 about your outcomes? And at the very least, right now, what you could do is, to make sure that you get real value out of this, is write down your top 3 outcomes for yourself over the next 60 days. Whether it's business or personal, just 3. You can mix them together if you want to, whatever it's sport. But what are the top 3 outcomes for yourself? So that brings us to the end of the model. And what I'd say to you is, watch out for your email inbox, because I'm going to send to you in the coming days a useful tool to help you actually wrap it all together in terms of an action plan that you can put together and actually use immediately. You can crack on with it straight away if you wish, but just watch out. There'll be some useful PDFs and information coming to you over the coming days, which I think you'll find very useful. And other than that, thanks for listening, and I hope to see you again.